Hi, Mr. Price. Today we're going to be talking about how plants and animals interact. Specifically, we're going to be able to trace their behavior to their cell structure and then even smaller down to molecules. Welcome to my magic workshop. All right, I want to show you some animal cells.
Clap. Big clap.
Okay, these represent our animal cells. And what you'll notice is the animal cells are flexible. They have a flexible cell membrane. Okay, they have a nice flexible cell membrane. And that allows these animals to be able to move. Okay, when you have a flexible cell membrane, you can move around. And the reason animals move is so that they can get some food. Now, why do they need to get food, right? Okay, the reason they need to get food is because they have inside of the cells, they have these little structures which are called mitochondria. Okay? So there's a we're going to use this to represent a mitochondrion. And you'll remember the mitochondrion are the powerhouse of the cell, and they burn food, right? So the food that we eat gets to the cells and it's going to be taken in by these, and they're going to burn that food. And you guys remember food is glucose, which is C6H12O6. Okay?
Clap and then put them in.
Okay. So we're seeing the mitochondria inside the cells, and they're taking in the food and burning it inside the cells.
All right, go ahead.
Animal cells are basically plant cells with cell walls, like this. So we're going to put these animal cells inside of these cell walls, and we have plant cells, almost. Now, so these cells, soon to be plant cells, are not quite plant cells. They have mitochondria, which they use to burn food. The problem is they have no way of getting food. What are they going to need to get food? They're going to need chloroplasts.
Say Bazam.
Pazam! These are our chloroplasts. The plant cells, because they're stuck in a cell wall, can't move. So they have these chloroplasts, which essentially absorb the light and make food for the cell. We have here are plant cells. And they have a mitochondrion and they have chloroplasts. Mitochondrion and chloroplasts. Plant cells have both, not just one. They have both. So, these are our plant cells. You can see they're in these rigid cell walls, right? That's what these are, these rigid cell walls. Inside of here, these green things are the chloroplasts. They make food out of CO2 and water, but we need the energy. They use the sun's energy. So we're going to have to figure out how do these things work together to help the plant use the sun's energy to make food.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All right, so we have our plant cells. They are going to make food, but they need the sun. Let's get that sun in here.
All right, go ahead.
So we have these rigid cell walls. We have the sun. And so what the rigid cell wall does, it helps the plant be tall. So rigid cell walls help the plant be tall, compete better for the sun. Okay, so we've seen some animals move to get food, right? And all of this is based on the fact that these animals have these animal cells that are flexible with a flexible membrane, and they have a mitochondria in them. And we want to remember that a mitochondria basically is this structure that burns food and releases energy. And we know from our work that we can represent that this way: glucose and oxygen mixing together and burning and releasing carbon dioxide and water. And we now know the chemical formula for that, and we know the fancy name, which is cell respiration.
Yep.
So we also know that plant cells have a mitochondrion, which is a little bit strange, but they're in a rigid cell wall, so they can't move. So what are they going to do? Well, what they're going to do is they're going to have to try to figure out a way to make use of these three ingredients: the sun, carbon dioxide, and water. And how they're going to do that is they're going to have an organelle in there, which is green, and it looks sort of like this. And most of you know what that organelle is called. That organelle is called the chloroplast, right? So the chloroplast, this thing I just built, it basically is the structure that makes food. And so what it does is it takes carbon dioxide and water and mixes it together with the sunlight and makes a sugar out of it, and it makes oxygen as well. And we know from our chemistry work that we can represent that as a chemical formula that looks like this, and we call this process photosynthesis. So plants have both a chloroplast and a mitochondria. They do both photosynthesis and respiration. Just a quick word about this, right, which is that cell respiration is sugar mixing with oxygen, giving you CO2 and water. And what's really amazing is that photosynthesis is the exact opposite of that. It's taking CO2 and water and making sugar and oxygen out of it. So these two reactions are really easy to know because they're just the exact opposite of each other. I know this is all kind of boring, so let's go back outside. I'll see you out there. So, thanks for watching. I hope the connection between plants, animals, their cell structure, and atoms and molecules are clearer now than when we started.